What's happening, Tilray traders and investors? It's Rod with Pow Group. Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ Stocks, crypto assets, news, and interviews. Today is Monday. Happy Monday, May 12th. Hope you had a great weekend and Mother's Day to all the amazing mothers. In this video, we're going to take a look at Tilray brands by popular request, getting a lot of requests from the community and on YouTube to do another video on Tilray, do some analysis. So I'll discuss TLRY stock. We'll take a look at the technicals, the price chart, what to expect in terms of the price action in the days, weeks, months ahead. Spoiler alert, though, there could be a big move incoming. So we'll discuss all of that and more in this video. As always, though, this is not financial advice. My analysis is only, my own thoughts and opinions and what I see in the charts. You should never take what I say, you should never buy or sell anything based on anything that I say or write. Full disclosure, I do own the stock as well. It's my largest MJ portfolio holding. I put my money where my mouth is. Fully transparent about that as well. And before we get started, make sure to smash like, subscribe, tick the bell, all that good stuff. You'll be notified on any future content. Also, you can follow us over on X, formerly Twitter. Handle for that is @GroupPow. I'm going to be using that as my platform of choice going forward. So we had Organigram came out with earnings today. We had Curaleaf last week. One thing that we've been noticing is international sales have been booming, and Tilray has some of the biggest international footprint out there. Like, think about it. Trulieve has, I think, 4 million square feet worth of grow capacity, and I think Tilray's over 5 million. So they're going to be supplying, Germany, the UK, and Portugal and Australia. They're really focusing on them as well. So we've been seeing this, and also just like recently, the Aurora earnings, and then recently today, Organigram earnings. You're really starting to see LPs turn a corner, and I think Tilray is going to see something similar here over the next few quarters in terms of their earnings reports. But one thing I wanted to bring up was the CGC chart, because it's very similar. You can see on the daily time frame, we had this hidden bullish RSI divergence. That just means that you're seeing price action go one way and the RSI is going the other direction, and eventually something's got to give. And then we had an EMA 12 and 26 bull cross. Reason why I'm saying this, because something similar is happening right now on Tilray. And the reason why I haven't done a quick, an update in a little while is because there hasn't been much action on Tilray. I basically said it was going to 42 cents, 40 cents, which was the bear flag target. That's been realized. We've seen that happen. And now we're just looking for clues that it's going the other way. And I do think a big move is incoming because of something similar here. You can see we had these lower highs and lower lows on the CGC price chart, and then higher lows and higher highs on the RSI. So you can see here it was an uptrend on the RSI, downtrend on the price action, and then gearing up for an EMA 12 and 26 bull cross, and then boom, big move ensued. It was about 115% of upside off of the low. So now let's look at Tilray. Very similar, higher lows and higher highs on the RSI, lower highs and lower lows on the price action. So if we were to see 100% move or 115% like CGC, that'd bring us up to around 89 cents essentially is where we would be at. But I want to bring up the hourly time frame because the S&P 500 is working on an hourly bull flag. So if we're looking at the S&P 500, right, and it's an hourly bull flag, what are you going to expect on pretty much every single individual stock chart? You're going to look for an hourly bull flag, right? Because the S&P is charting, well, it's a ETF of all the world's biggest companies. So that tells you that the market is headed in one direction. But it's not, take it with a grain of salt. It's not always accurate, but that's kind of the rule of thumb, right? So now we look at the Tilray chart. It's not quite starting hourly consolidation yet, but if we do start hourly consolidation over the next couple of candles here, anything over 0.44 is an hourly bull flag potential. And then you just take your measured move there from the low to the high, move it out to your 0.32 fib, and it's saying 47 cents could be the hourly bull flag target. Now, that's not the big move I was talking about. You're probably like, oh, we're going from 45 cents to 47 cents. Big whoop. No, that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about here is this daily hidden bullish divergence, which could easily send us up to around that 80 to 90 cent mark. And again, just like CGC, it had been a long time since we saw an EMA 12 and 26 bull cross, and you can see that's forming now. And I would say it's probably about maybe a few days to a week away before that happens. And again, that hidden bullish RSI divergence, and then with that EMA 12 and 26 bull cross lining up, wouldn't be surprised at all to see us up around 80 cents to 90 cents. And there was also just a interview with Bina Goldenberg, who's the CEO of Organigram on BNN, and she was talking about MJ beverages. Look at everybody getting into beverages, right? Everybody wants to be like Tilray, and everybody focused on international markets, right? Tilray was the first to do that. They are the number one beverage in Canada. They're going to be the number one in the US. They're going to be the number one globally. Mark my words. And it's imitation is the highest form of flattery, right? All these MSOs are doing it, and everybody's following Tilray into this beverage market, and it's going to be absolutely massive. And if we take a look here, so we had those, one thing I wanted to mention with regards to that interview with OGI, she talked about, Bina Goldenberg talked about how there could be improvements to provincial laws, and it's more than likely going to be a provincial law thing where you could see MJ beverages sold in liquor stores. You could see them sold in convenience stores. So if that were to happen, that's going to absolutely ignite this sector. And excise tax improvement, if that gets approved in Canada over the next year or so, oh man, that's going to add, like I said, tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars to these companies' bottom lines, right? That could be the difference between profitable and unprofitable. But if we take a look, we had, like I said, that bear flag target of 42 cents, then we had 40 cents. We hit that. The low that we had recently was at 41 cents, so right in between. Right in the money. This could very well be our long-term bottom forming. And what I was really referencing with regards to a big move is the monthly time frame. Yes, that 100% rally potentially off a similar move to CGC with the hidden bullish divergence is possible, but that's not where it's going to stop, right? That would just bring us back to around just under monthly EMA 12. What do we know about these EMAs is we generally trend back towards them, and we've never seen a monthly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross on Tilray before. On CGC, I don't know if we've seen one either. Yeah, we saw one here, and price went from, well, this is factoring in post-split, so it went from $90 all the way up to $564, right? In terms of percentages, it went up 5x over 5x, right? So if something similar happened to Tilray, especially given how beaten down we are, we could easily see 500 to 1,000% gain off of those lows. But one thing I want to just really drill home here is when we start the monthly bounce, we haven't bounced on the monthly time frame really in a meaningful way. I guess we had a small bounce in November where we went from 177 to 182, but barely, like 5 pennies. Who cares? This one here, we went from 184 to 215. Not even a big one there either. The real big one was up there at 297. But essentially, we're now like almost a year, 10 months, almost a year without a significant monthly bounce. What do I mean when I say bounce? Bounce just means we're breaking the high of the previous candle. So we could be on the weekly time frame and we break the high of the previous weekly candle because we're on the weekly time frame, and then the weekly bounce is underway. If you lose the low of the previous weekly candle, that's called consolidation and pulling back, right? So now that we're on the monthly time frame, if we break the high of the previous monthly candle, then the monthly bounce should be underway. If we lost the low like we did this month, it's consolidating just like it's been doing for the last almost a year, 10 months in a row. So with that in mind, could we potentially break the high of last month and start the bounce this month? It's possible. We'd have to break 67 cents. If we get above 67 cents, monthly bounce underway, and then very possible we see that EMA 12 come into play, which is at $1.14, and then could see somewhere around that 80 to 90 cent mark, which would be a similar move that CGC just saw after the hidden bullish RSI divergence. So it's not the most likely scenario. Anything's possible. I mean, it wouldn't take us much to get back up to around 67, 68 cents, but we only got 18 days left in this month, and big tech, crypto, AI continues to steal the show. Most names up incredible amount today and has seen a massive rally. Just look at the S&P 500, less than 6% away from all-time high. And Tilray, is getting 5% on the day today. Most names up 3 or 4% on average. But the key takeaway here is just MJ is not popular, and we need a big catalyst to propel this sector, and not just promises or hopes or progress. We need concrete, something big happening. The Canadian government slashing excise tax or allowing beverages in stores, safer banking, which very well could happen this year, rescheduling actually getting enacted and switched to Schedule 3, and the safer banking actually getting signed into law. We need concrete catalysts, not just progress, right? Once that happens, these things are going to absolutely explode. Like, you're not going to believe it. But again, big tech, AI, crypto, that's the play. MJ's on the sidelines for now. I do think it's going to be a 2026, 2027 story where, this sector is going to absolutely erupt while rest of, big tech, crypto, AI enters a bear market. We'll see that rotational play. But I think, the most likely scenario is we start the bounce next month. It's possible that we could start the bounce this month. I'd probably put it at a, maybe like a 30 or 40% chance that we do it this month, and then, maybe a 60% chance we do it next month, essentially, right? And then we're seeing market breadth open up, which just means expansion in the market. We're seeing global liquidity increase. We're seeing, potential interest rate cuts from the Fed next month. So all of these things, right? We could even see more additional money printing and tariff deals being signed. So all of these things are great, and it's adding more risk-on appetite to the market. And this is one of the riskiest if not the riskiest sector at the moment. So we need that risk on environment. But I would say it's most likely going to happen next month. And then if we break the high of this month, next month, monthly bounce underway, like I said, we could easily see just from current levels, if we go back to monthly EMA 12, that's 150% of upside. And then on the weekly time frame, we just had a stochastic bull cross on the weekly. We're just waiting for that was the MACD bull cross, and we're just waiting for the stochastic to flip bullish, which could happen any week now. And then if we can get two or preferably 3 candle closes over that 10-week moving average at 53 cents, we're going to see a massive turnaround, in my opinion. And like I said, wouldn't be surprised if we were back up to around $1. We have nothing nearby into the 50 weekly at 129. And then in terms of the daily time frame, if we can get over that 50-day moving average at 56, we've got some runway to 84 cents and then nothing until 124. And again, what happens with these moving averages? We typically gravitate back towards them, right? We get extended to the upside, we come back, test it as support, get extended to the downside, we gravitate, we just ebb and flow, and we gravitate back towards them. So unless you think this sector is going to completely cease to exist, or you think Tilray is going to cease to exist, why wouldn't we think that we would be back around that 80 to $1, right? 80 cents to $1 market. And I think that, it's going to be at least 2 or 3 months before we see a golden cross, I would think, based on the space in between them. But if the 50 were to come up and touch that 200-day moving average and cross through it, that'd be a golden cross. But again, look how far away they are. It's going to be at least a couple months. That's why I'm thinking it's more than likely going to be a next month thing that we start the monthly bounce. And wouldn't be surprised if we saw 100 to 150% move off of the lows. I mean, that's still really nothing in the grand scheme of things, and it would just be getting started, right? And if we get any kind of safer banking and rescheduling and beverages and convenience stores or liquor stores in Canada, if we get excise tax improved, there's so many catalysts, it's not even funny. If we get rescheduling, that would be huge alone. As Tilray said in my recent interview with the CEO, Erwin Simon, if the US were to allow for medical, they could be in that market within 60 to 90 days. If they were able to sell MJ beverages, like not just hemp drinks, but actual MJ beverages, they could be in that market in 60 to 90 days. And what is everybody and their dog trying to do right now? Green Thumb bought the Senorita brand, right? Agrify beverages. True Leaf launched Onward beverages. Organogram beverages. Everybody wants to be like Tilray. At the end of the day, imitation is the highest form of flattery, and I can guarantee you one thing, that Tilray isn't going anywhere. I said multiple times on this channel, if Tilray goes to zero or goes bankrupt, I will eat dirt on camera. And I'm very confident that Tilray will not be doing that. It'll be an easily top 5 globally, in my opinion, when it's all said and done. Probably top 3 and maybe even the number 1 MJ company globally. All right, going in it there. It's Rod with Pow Group. Thanks again for joining us in the Pursuit of Wealth, and we'll see you again on the next video.